Welcome to a new episode of the Smart Talk. Today I have two special guests. I got Lambo Jack in the building, and I got Fonzie in the building. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing excellent, bud. Life is good.
Absolutely.
We're above ground. You know what I mean? We got the sunshine, so life is good.
Yeah, it's always a good day when you get out of bed, man. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So let's, with the Lambo Jack name, you have a couple of nicknames. The General, Lambo Jack, Jack. What's the story behind it?
So, the funny story is I always tell people, my mom gave my name Jack, right? And I was named after the president, John F. Kennedy, right? And also a close cousin of mine named Jack Mercer. But this funny story everyone's asked me, how'd you get the name The General, which I'm really known by?
Right.
And I got the name The General, and I got this name from one of my employees back when I first started harmonics. I'll tell you the story. It's great. So I helped write the national curriculum for ITT Tech, and I used to get a lot of ITT Tech students into harmonics. And I had this student, and I didn't even know that he was actually homeless, and he was taking care of his brother and his dad. And I was like, he didn't tell me the story.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have our annual Christmas party. We at the time there was like 36 employees, so times two. I mean, the venues are gonna be big. We're gonna find like 120 people.
Right.
And so HR was, you guys can take one person. So he sends in this email and he says, is there any way possible that I could bring my dad? And that would be 3 people. And they brought up to me. I said, sure, just let him bring his dad. But I want you to think about this venue at the time. At the time, the guest that I'm having is a very famous lady in Albuquerque named Anna Muller. She was the head of the Republican Party, ran a place called NITA. We're talking big time. President Bush, every president you could think about as a Republican was at her house here downtown.
Oh, wow.
One of my big time mentors, and I loved her. She was like an aunt to me. So we're in this whole meeting, and so I went to talk to everybody. And I'm like, if I take a minute with everybody, it's going to literally take me 100 minutes, and I got to get this thing done. Right. So I try to say hi to everybody, go to tables. And what I was noticing is when I was speaking, this man would say, looking one way, and he says, I want to tell you something. He puts his hand on me. He says, I want to really thank you for bringing me and hosting me, but I'm blind.
Oh, wow.
And so I stayed talking to this man. I was like, wow, this is powerful, right?
Yeah.
Let's fast forward. So I closed the company for 1 week. I give everybody off, but I like to catch up at the office. So here I see this little car pull in, and I never knew what he drove. And he comes to me, and he's like, hey, I want to introduce myself. I'm the new hire. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you a cool story. We brought you a gift. And I was like, well, what's in the gift? And it was like wrapped in a paper bag. And he said, I want you to know that once I got this job, I was able to sign us on a lease, but we were homeless for almost a year and a half.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not kind of taking these all. And we bought a TV. We used to go and buy DVDs. And one day we said, we're going to be able to watch these DVDs on a real TV. Wow. So I'm about to get choked up. I'm holding this down. I'm not really an emotional guy. And I'm like, this is some powerful stuff. And he says, but I really want you to watch this movie. And when we watched this movie, it's our favorite movie. We all agreed that you're like the main character in this movie because you're so strong, but you're so kind. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the movie. So I watched the movie, right? And it's the movie about, what's the movie called with the...
300?
No, not 300. We just watched it. Remember Brian got mad because I didn't show up?
Oh, Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Okay.
Gladiator 1 with Maximus. And so he's like, you know what? You remind us of the General Maximus. So let's stop right there, right? So then people started like, yeah, you're like the General Maximus. At the time, Teddy Riley, famous artist, had come to Albuquerque, and we are going to do some investment stuff. He's like, I want you to come up to California and I talk about these opportunities. And so I'm like playing at Torrey Pines. I'm like, I rented a car, go down, I end up in Interscope Records, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is like where I used to listen to.
Yeah.
And I'm walking, it's Teddy Riley, and he's recording, and he's like the largest artist ever at that time. Like, this is like, I used to watch this guy when I was a kid, MTV Cribs, the whole 9 yards, right? Chris Rock's manager is coming down on the thing. He's like, holy shit, you're like the size of Brock Lesnar. You know what you remind me of? You like that new movie, the General from 300. So they shot me on the radio and said, we got the motherfucking General in the house. So the name just stuck.
Just stuck. Okay.
Okay? So then I'm moving on through life, and everyone's like, you know what? You remind me of the general from 300, and it was game over. From that day on, no one ever called me by my first name.
Just calls you the general.
So there's like the general, right? Because I move everything off of war. I read all about war generals. So my strategy in business is based off war, right? How I got the name Lambo Jack is by one of my friends. One of my best friends. We used to call him Walnuts, and he died. It's been 2014, almost over 10 years of pancreatic cancer. And he was a really animated guy. I tell him that Fonzie reminds me a lot of him. He could have been his dad. And so he would always say, General, I'm going to change your name. And I was like, General, shut up, Walnuts. And he's all, you have all these Lamborghinis. And so I'm going to tell my friends Lambo Jack so you know what it is. And so he started calling me Lambo Jack.
Yeah.
But the way he would do it was so animated. He'd be like, Lambo Jack. And he's all, but this is what I'm going to do. Long name like a king. And he'd be like, Jack the General. No, let's cut that. The General, a.k.a. Lambo Jack. And so he started doing that, and it started sticking. Then I started doing these big car events in California, and they're like, you need to pick a handle. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick freaking... The General was taken, and I was fighting with a couple people, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to rebrand this, so I'm just going to call it Lambo Jack. And it just kind of blew up. And so in the car community, in the whole social media community, I'm just known as Lambo Jack. And funny part is I never gave myself those names. Those names are given to me by amazing people, and like in different circumstances. But what really mattered to me most about that is that it brings hope to most people. Like the names mean something to them.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what matters to me.
I feel like every one of those nicknames holds some sort of, like the general, that's a leadership role. Lambo Jack, accomplishment. So those are like milestones in life that you have.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's literally milestones in life. And I think that that's what's been what I loved about those names, and they've carried on, right?
I actually have a funny story. So when I was in 2016, I was in high school. I had just gotten into media. I went to one of the car meets, and I don't know if it was the red Aventador, but I took a picture of it and I reposted it, and you replied to it.
Nice.
I was just a teenager at the time, and then from there I was just like, man, like I want to get to that level eventually.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how everything comes back full circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but going on to another topic. So you just became a father. Right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does that change your mentality now going forward?
It's legacy. I think for me, it was like I used to build for myself. And that's what I really cared about, was like, dominating in the game. Winning, I used to go straight winning was one of my hashtags. And being a father is like literally seeing your legacy. And now you're not building for you, but you're building for the future. And I think for my boys, I got 3 boys, right? So I got an adopted son, and then I got 2 biological sons. And so I got Jack, little Jack, and then I got Christian, right? And so I think for me, it's really about, what comes to my mind is not that mental pressure for them to meet up to what their dad did. And that kind of like, I want them, every dad wants their sons to surpass them. I tell every man, any man in your life that actually wants you to surpass them is going to be your father. No one else.
Right.
Like no man wants you to surpass them, but your father will. And so I think for me, it's really about building that legacy. But I'm going to be able to give my sons such a step up in life from mind, body, spirit, structure, financially, that they're not going to start where I had to start. Right?
Yeah.
But I still want to teach the fundamentals of discipline and respect.
Right.
And kindness.
Absolutely. So are those the core values that you would bring on?
Absolutely.
To yourself? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's great. Values, it had to be self-taught, but when you have somebody there instilling them into you, it's just, like you said, it gives them the head start. And what's like something that you would give advice for a young father or somebody who just became a father as well?
Love your kids. Teach them respect. Teach them discipline. I think discipline is missing so far. Discipline, respect, and kindness, those pillars right there are the fundamentals you need to teach your son to be able to be successful in his life. Like, no matter how successful I've ever been in my life, I'm not a jerk. Like, I'm just not a jerk with people, right? Like, you would never know that I was a multimillionaire. You wouldn't know that I generated $100 million before I was 30 years old. Like, you wouldn't know that because I just walk with a different swag. A lot of people always tell me, they're like, you know what, Jack? You're like The Rock. You have that personality like The Rock, where like you're gonna buy the lemonade from the little kid, you're gonna interact with everybody, and you're just like that kind of person. And I want to make people feel happy and special no matter what it is. And I really think I was born with the gift of like, I don't care what your background is. I don't care what ethnicity you are. I don't care about how much money you got. I really want to give you a chance, and I want to see just people do well. Like that's just ingrained in me. Like I can meet somebody that's been like, well, I've been in prison, and it doesn't like I don't have a bone in me that's like wanting to pass a judgment. Like I really don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's been like my natural gift.
Where do you get your humbleness from? Is it from your beginnings or?
I'm not gonna say that I really, I had an amazing mom and dad. My dad worked at the labs. My mom owned a business. We had a lot of financial step up compared to where I grew up. But my mom's actions every day of like being a foster parent and bringing foster brothers and sisters into my house and not wanting me to grow up like a spoiled brat was huge. What she would do for the community. Like my mom was a person that if she saw you on the side of the road and you're at a store and you needed a blanket or you needed shoes or you needed food, she would just do it. No questions asked. One of the biggest remembrance I had, one of our favorite restaurants we used to like to go to was Long John Silver's, right? The Grease House, and I still love it. And I remember there was this man outside, and he was like kind of like hunched over. My mom walks up and is like, "How you doing, sir?" And the restaurant said, "You can't come in, right? You're homeless. You're not, probably presenting well. You don't have any money." And I remember my mom just like nothing, saying what his name is. She reaches out to him and just says, "You're coming in with us." And I'm watching this whole thing, and she's like, "Get this man whatever order he wants."
Oh wow,
That's awesome.
And right there on the spot, I was like, "Holy smokes!" This my mom just made everyone feel whether you were the president of the bank or you're homeless the same way. And my mom was a very successful woman, very, very strong in stature. Right? I told my dad, I said, "How'd you marry mom?" He's like, "She was the meanest blonde I'd ever met in my life." Right? So. Like that was really the factor.
Yeah.
And my dad's a really kind guy. You meet my dad, he'll buy you lunch. He's just a very happy-go-lucky individual. And I think that's really where I got it from. And I watched people, like, I guess when you are around foster brothers and sisters and stuff, you really get to realize how much shit there is out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you experience different point of views from firsthand. Actually, there's this quote: "Money is the root of all evil." What do you think about that? It's actually something I'm interested in.
I think this bottle could be evil, right? If I hold you down and I shove this bottle down your throat, you're probably going to drown. So money. Let me tell you something that's funny. Money is mentioned more times in the Bible than anything else. So what money is saying is that money is like, I tell people to make money, it's like a water hose. When you're a kid and you drink out of the hose and you first start drinking out of the hose, there's that much water. It doesn't affect you. But imagine, and then you say, "I want to put it towards me," right? And so you're holding the water. Still doesn't affect you. But imagine that water hose now turns to a water hydrant. Now you're going to be able to hold it. So money is literally a resource. And my philosophy is kind of what a coach told me one time. He's all, money's like steroids. If you're already a dick and you take steroids, it just enhances who you are. Money is just an enhancer of who you are. So if you're already a kind guy, you're going to be more kind because you're going to be able to help more people. I think people that like to get stuck on money is the root of all evil. It's because they're broke. They don't want to work hard enough. So they want to be like, he's bad, he's this, and he's that, which doesn't make sense because if we didn't get money, my grandpa told me the best thing ever. When I was a little boy, I said, "Grandpa," I said, "Well, isn't money bad?" Same thing that you said, right? And he said, "Think about this." He said, "If you had 1 penny, you can buy 1 bubble gum. If you got 5 cents, you can buy 5 bubble gums. If you have 25 cents, you can buy 25 bubble gums. You can now chew 1 bubble gum, give your friend a bubble gum, sell the other bubble gums to multiply them, and then how many bubble gums can you afford to give after that?" So I was always like, "Well, that's freaking powerful." So
increasing.
the more you succeed, the more you can give. Like
Right.
I'm part of Los Ojos de la Familia. I'm on the board. We raised $1 million and gave it away.
Wow.
Right,
that's all
bunch
within
of
the community?
locally.
Okay.
No overhead, nothing. Bunch of CEOs. One of my best friends, Michael Montoya, was the founder. We got Mo V Hill in there. We got a bunch of people I'm gonna miss in this whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? I almost like, Michael's probably one of my core friends that he's probably one of the most giving and unselfish humans that I know. And I'm like, this guy's going to make me be a better man in that department. So I'm going to step in and back him up.
Okay.
So it's like one thing you'll learn in your life is surround yourself with a strong circle of humans, your personal board of directors, because they're going to make you or break you. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the whole thing, birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
I mean, you got to be careful, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you gotta have your core personal board of directors. My friendships are like the Olympic circles. I got my core circle, then I have an early liker circle, and then I have a third circle, and then everyone else under that is acquaintances. And the way you get into that middle circle is time, how much time and how you've been there with me through the long haul. So to get to that middle circle, you're putting in 15 years plus.
Just straight work. Hustling.
Straight work. We've experienced things together, the goods, the bads, the indifference, but you've been there.
So what was your, like going back in time or to when you were younger, what was the mentality shift that allowed you to become who you are today? Or did you always have that mentality and what allowed you to get
I've always had that mentality, and I can tell you that I grew up with a mom that was so strict, that set a standard so high for me that there was no excuses, right? But what I learned is, you know, laugh here, but she taught me by cleaning. Like people were like, Jack, like cleaning your house, cleaning your life, your body, you're cleaning the weeds. Like when you learn that mentality of just excelling in hard work, dedication, those two combined, it's next level, right?
Yeah.
So I always had a work ethic that was second to no anybody. Like there was no one that could outwork me. What drove me is watching my parents succeed. There was this underlying fear that I wasn't going to be able to match their success. And so my mind was like, there's two of them and one of me. Holy shit, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I was watching, we had a beautiful house. We had 27 brand new cars the whole time I was alive.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so I was like, we go on vacations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is life, like financial freedom.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'm like, I need to be at this level. This is pretty stressful for me. So I was thinking about this since I was like 12 years old.
Dang. Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta make it. I don't want to be a failure.
Yeah.
And so when you have parents like that, it creates a lot of stress for the kids. That's what I'm working. And it's not like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall apart. But it was good for me.
I mean, pressure breeds diamonds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or pressure breaks pipes, one of the two.
Right. Yeah, that is true.
So I think that with that mentality, then I got into bodybuilding at like 12 years old with lifting weights. And that taught me a second level of discipline where I just said, I'm going to maximize that. And then I got into martial arts very early on in my life. So between martial arts and bodybuilding, I knew that in order to be an optimal human, I'm like, I can't be doing drugs. I can't be drinking. I can't be hanging with my friends. I want to be a badass, right? And so that was a huge piece. And then I was really good at mathematics, right? And so in high school, elementary, I was so good at mathematics that I had teachers that are like, you're going to be an engineer. You're going to be an engineer. So a lot of good people around me. There's a lot of good mentors. And so that's one thing I got to say, that I was raised in a community that just had some very just awesome people. There's some shitty people, but I didn't pay attention to those. I didn't tune into that channel. The other thing I do is I don't tune into negative channels.
Yeah.
Right? If you're making noise, I'm not tuning into you. You're doing something positive, I am. You know, I live by the 10 rules. I wrote the 10 rules of success, right? And one of my rules is people's opinions cannot be cashed at the bank. And when I'm looking at somebody and they have an opinion of me, and I look at them, I'm like, would I trade my life for yours? If it's a no, well, then I don't really give a hell what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And when I was young, I used to have a saying saying, if you ain't Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't care about your fitness advice. And if you're not Donald Trump, I don't care about your financial advice.
Absolutely. So how do you surround with people that, so like you said, you don't care about certain people's advice, but you do have that tight knit of people around you that might, I wouldn't say guide you, but help you. How do you balance that?
I think the question you're really asking is, how do you get those people?
Yeah, right.
And so I'm going to tell you that it's hard as hell. And so I tell people, the friends you have now, as you succeed, you're going to leave about 80% behind. Maybe 90, maybe all of them. Because most people don't want to elevate. They're good at where they're at. So the moment you start elevating, you're going to lose people. So you'll find people that are like-minded along the path. So it took me all the way to freaking 42 years old. Nah, I'd say about 30 years old to find some quality people. But at the end of the day, it's like I come together with humans to, like, pass some ideas. But it's my faith. Like, I only rely on God. Like, I'm like, God's my guide. Everything else is just, like second nature to me. So I rely on God, number one, and I rely on me, number two.
Absolutely. How do you balance between faith and business? It's connected?
So that's a good question. And so I tell people. So when you look at God's greatest people in the Bible, and we're not talking about Jesus. So I'm going to talk about like King Solomon or you're going to talk about King David. What did they all have in common? Or Samson? They were given great gifts, but they had these shortcomings, right? But they all experienced extreme wealth. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna mimic these guys, but I'm gonna have extreme discipline. Like, I'm not gonna let certain things shade me. Like, I'm not gonna be the guy that's chasing all these females or letting alcohol rule me or any of that. Like, don't get me wrong, we're all gonna fall certain things, but we can't make it our God. We can't make it our all. And that's one thing. I've never done drugs, right? Never done any drugs. Never, I drank a few drinks here and there. But people know me for drinking cranberry spritzers, right? Not drinking alcohol, because my body's a temple. My mind's a temple.
Right.
So I don't want. Why would I take the sharpest sword and start dragging it across the pavement? That's an oxymoron. Well, that's your mind. So the moment you're smoking pot, doing all this, like, oh, I'm gonna be creative. No, dumb fuck. You're destroying your mind.
Yes, that is
right?
true. Yeah.
And so you're drinking alcohol. Oh, this is good for me. Well, you're going to age out. Like Fonzie, I take Fonzie, I people to the gym. I'm in my mid-40s, and I put people are hurting in the gym, right? And I'm like, well, I'm 20. Well, you should look good when you're 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you don't look good when you're 20, you're failing,
Yeah.
right? It's when you're my age. Like, what do you look like?
Yeah.
I still want to look young, even at that
You
age.
see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I understand
So I think those are the big factors. And knowing yourself, like, just not being swayed.
Okay. Let's go over. You mentioned Thailand and Japan. What led you into going to those places, and what was the journey like?
So I met an amazing master. I can't talk too much about him because of his work that he did, but I met a master, and I just followed him, and he was like a second dad to me. And I just literally was like, this guy's going to teach me things that were next level. And I got to do things that most humans will never get to do. And train with clans that most people will never get to do. And as an American, right? And so one thing Master Kim once said, he's like, Jack, you're like no one from the West. Like, you literally listen. And one thing I learned from this master, and he said, in the West, we're like this. Right, your fist, this is your mind, you're a know-it-all. You can't receive any gifts. He said, here in the East, we're like this. And so people think, oh, we're here, but look at this. We can give, right? We can receive, but we still can inflict. And so I choose to live like that. And so that was like part of the greatest thing. And when you're looking at, when you get to, like, for me, they say, Jack, do you think is the ultimate discipline country, city in the world? Japan, hands down. The most suicide happens in Japan because the honor system that the Japanese have and what they set their standards for is next level.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if I needed to identify with the culture, I'd identify with the Japanese because they strive for perfection.
Yeah.
Right? They had a Japanese spies get into Tennessee to learn the whiskey, and that's how they created Japanese whiskey and made it, to perfect it. But, I love studying the culture of the samurai.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you think about that, and, like, The Last Samurai is one of my favorite movies of all time. But to imagine to live your life like the samurai, yet to be such an ultimate weapon, but you're taught to leave your armor at the door. So your armor was taken outside your home. When you walked in, you were no longer that samurai. You're a family man. And that's what I live by. When I get to my home, I literally mentally take all my armor off and I leave it at the door. So when I walk in, I'm a good man. I'm a good husband. I'm a good father. I'm a good leader. And so I leave that armor at the door.
Yeah, that's intense. I mean, what do you think about failures when it comes to that? Because they do have seppuku, which it's when you lose a battle. I don't know if you consider that a failure, but how do you deal with failures?
Failures are opportunities. And I don't even think my mind's even programmed to see a failure. Because people have asked me, Jack, and I've had a shitload of failures, but I just can't remember them. I guess I choose not to dwell on them. I look at a failure as an opportunity to build upon. My philosophy is if you gave it your all and you fail at something, well, is it a failure? No. It's a course correction. So if I gave it my all and I failed, well, you can look at it two ways. God's got a bigger plan for you, or it wasn't meant for you. So one of my greatest country songs I love is one of God's greatest gifts is unanswered prayers. So us as man, we think it's our time, but it's not.
We just wanted it to be, but it's not.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
But God's got a bigger picture for you. What keeps me level-headed is when I was a young man, I used to drive, because I grew up in Penasco, small town in northern New Mexico, and I used to drive down to Los Alamos to work, and I'd drive by this place in Nambe, and it was this house, and it was probably about 2,000 square feet, it had a 2-car garage and a carport, and I said, that's what I want right there. And so I set my standards, right? And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do right now. And I said, you know what? I want $100,000 in the bank, $40,000 in my checking account. I was very, very elaborate in what I wanted. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. Well, I achieved that very fast. I fast forward now, I own 4 mansions, right?
Yeah.
4 Lamborghinis. I own a jet. Like, God was like, no, I'm going to give you way more than that. Well, the place I'm in now is 13,000 square feet. But imagine I only wanted 2.
Yeah.
But the thing about it's not about the houses. It's not about that. Is what I'm saying is, so when I look back at life and when I want to achieve more? No, because I was like, God, if you give me this, then I can do this. But so for me, I'm already happy where I'm at. And so I don't compete with others. One of my friends, Joe, he was doing this live today. He says comparison is literally the robbery of happiness or something,
joy,
or
yeah.
content. And it's true. Because if you sit there and compare yourself, if I'm sitting here and I'm trying to compare myself with Elon Musk, wealth, I'm gonna be like, fuck, I got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But if 95% of the city of Albuquerque is trying to compare their net worth to mine, they're gonna be sad. Like, you see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So just be content. But I have good friends that say, look, we can do what billionaires do.
Yeah.
And so I've just always been a content man. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Every part of the journey.
Going back to, for example, your accomplishments, like you mentioned, the houses, the cars. Do you think it came from more of a system of belief or of satisfaction?
Trophies. So, because I have an Eastern philosophy in everything that I do, in order to be the greatest swordsman, you've had to fight 1,000 battles, right? That's how you're the greatest swordsman. So everything I've accomplished are just a byproduct of my success. So see, most people have this whole thought like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to manifest. And I'm like, good fucking luck. Get out your ass out there and start working, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to sit there and be like, oh my God, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like, get out there and turn a wrench.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want my house to be better. Whoa, have you started even cleaning the sink?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I truly believe that my success comes from, one, God blessed me with extreme brilliance. So
Right.
that gave me a head on life, right? And then my work ethic and my discipline, you add all those up together. One thing I learned from a master, he said, you know what? There's no such thing as luck. It's when timing and preparation meet. If you prepare to be a champion, one day you're going to get the championship fight. But if you're sitting there and saying, you know what? If I had the championship fight, then I'll train for it. Well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah. I mean, when preparation meets opportunity, something good comes out of it, which is your
So
situation.
just always work to be your best. And I think with me, it's like anything I touch, I'm gonna just take it to the next level.
Absolutely. So, is there a point where you just, I don't know, obviously, I don't, I'm picking your brain apart, but let's say all those accomplishments, the cars, the houses, and everything like that, is there a point where it's just kind of like, okay, I can do this, but it's not really what's satisfying me?
You know what's crazy? So when you don't have shit, you want shit. And then when you have shit, you don't care about it, right?
Right.
So I was thinking about this. One of my favorite things to do is sit outside and drink coffee. Right? You can do that as a millionaire, a multimillionaire, a billionaire, or the guy just got $1 in his pocket. The difference is the venue is going to be different, right? So I remember one of my favorite things to do. If I can feel it like I was like yesterday, I was like 23 years old. I had moved to Albuquerque. I bought a badass house, but I would go drink Starbucks early in the morning, just feeling when it was cool in the morning and kind of enjoying things. And I would sit with my dog, and just kind of like me and my dog would have the conversation. Right, his name was Samson, and how I just enjoyed that life. Then there was a man named Tom Montaño. We'd sit there, we chop business, and we do it early in the morning. And I think that one of the greatest things that you could do is just literally sit outside, drink a cup of coffee, and just be thankful what you've achieved. And I think that is like, doesn't matter at what level. I've done it sitting on a yacht. I've done it sitting on a $40 million jet. I've done it on a high rise. I've done it in a mansion. And I did it that day in Starbucks. It all feels the same. It's where's your mindset and where's your heart?
Does it feel like a reset?
It's not even like a reset. It's just being content.
Content.
So I guess for me, it's feels the same because I've always enjoyed the journey. Like I always enjoyed the journey of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm not, when I had a Super Sport Camaro, right, and I was like, oh my God, when I was there, I was in that moment. I wasn't looking at, oh, that guy's driving a Corvette or that guy's driving a Ferrari. I could give less two shits. I was like, I'm in this is my success. Like, I love this. I know how this car feels when it shifts, the sound of a V8. I remembered, like, how much I wanted a V8 car.
Yeah.
And when I achieved that, and it was like the success, when I got a Corvette, and I was like, wow, this is successful. All down to Lamborghinis, you know what I mean? All that stuff. But you got to enjoy the success all the way along the way, right?
Yeah. And then we mentioned this earlier before the cameras are on, but you said it got to a point where now that you had your son, that fulfillment that you were missing through all these accomplishments.
Family.
Was that
So,
family.
yeah, so I think God's greatest gift for a human as a man is to give you the opportunity to raise a family, like the opportunity to take care of a woman, to raise your children. And so, like, you see them at home and they have no worries, right? Like my significant other and my sons, they have to worry. Their dad's a warrior. I've conquered the lands, and so they don't got to worry about anything. All they got to worry about is being happy, taking care of the house, happy-go-lucky. My family's not going to have to worry for anything. I think one of the biggest things you see in today's society is these men are a bunch of weak sauce. They're losers. They're not warriors. Like, I can't respect a man who doesn't take care of his son. Like, you can't respect that kind of man. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going off on the family thing, but
Yeah, absolutely.
as men, we're called to be warriors, protectors, providers. The 2 P's, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all we got to do.
Absolutely.
So I think for me, the question is, I didn't have anybody in my life that was really worth the sense for me to do things, but I was just feeling myself with success and Vegas and this and that. And I was always like, it feels good. Like, it feels good. Like, okay, bought this Lamborghini. It feels good. What's the next hit? Okay, well, I just hit this deal, $30 million. Oh, it feels good. But no, there's nothing like when you have a family. Like, when you get that family, then you're just like, wow, I understand why I got to do it.
Absolutely. I really want to pick your opinion on this. So what do you think is wrong with society today that is changing men from that grit and grind to being
It's what you said. Like, what's crazy is like, our generation has created soft men. I'm gonna piss a lot of people off here, but for me, I'm very black and white, right? And so my whole thing is this: look, Like a man's got to be a man and a girl's got to be a girl. And I don't care. Like you, if you want to, you could, and I don't care, right? You could be straight, you could be gay, but you got to be something. You can't be in the middle. You can't be like, well, not today. I don't feel like this. No. What are you gonna be? Because I believe that you just got to be who you're gonna be, and people are gonna respect that. And I think today's society is, you look at the school systems, and if you feel like you're a cat and you got to go in the litter box, and then you can't go do this.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's going to work for you in high school. But do you know any colleges that have a litter box? No, so you just set that person to fail.
Yeah.
You're not telling them what reality is. And the old-fashioned ass-kicking, like a good spanking. You know, we've created a society of just weak men. And you look at Sparta, right? I believe in my style. You take your children, mama nourishes them, you nourish them till about 8 years old. Then at 8, once they feel that strength, they do that, then dad's got to step in and you start building a warrior. You teach them how to fall. You teach them, okay, you don't shake. Because there's a difference between a mother's love and a father's, right? Mama's always going to be there for you. She's going to want to take care of you, do this, even down to your 14, 15, 16, 17.
Right.
Dad's going to be like, no, shake it off, dude.
Yeah.
No, that was, because you're going to be able to see it. Like, there's no wound there. And I always test my sons, right? I do this thing where I pretend like I'm doing magic. And all of a sudden, I'm like, thanks, Daddy, that works. Well, no. If it was really something, it wouldn't go away like that. So it's really that discipline, getting them up, showing them what to do. Like what you told me earlier off the camera is that you saw your dad building the car, tearing it apart, doing this, being an example. You know, I was talking about the social experiment.
Yeah.
You know, Fonzie didn't have his dad in his life.
Right.
But what he's learned with me in the last year, I mean, Fonz, take it from there. What have you learned? Like, what do you, if you had to break me down and say, how would you explain to me, to the world, like, what are my core competencies? I guess I like that because you're a third person in this, right? And you're not on payroll, so
You
you could be like, you suck. I'll be all right with it.
No. Realistically, it's discipline. You know, one of the things that I lacked throughout my life was discipline. My mom, she worked multiple jobs throughout her life, but she wanted me to have a better life than she had when she was little. So one of the problems that I ended up dealing with is that I was coddled too much, right?
Yeah.
And then I throughout my entire life, I always sought out mentorship and I always sought out strong men because I didn't have it in my life. I didn't have a father growing up, right? And so I tried finding certain mentors, and some of them were fantastic. Some of them just flat out sucked. But I never had anybody that I could really just connect with.
Yeah.
And I finally just kind of like a lot of people, you know, I messaged Jack on Instagram, and he was just cool. He was like, he messaged back, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I sold him a PlayStation during COVID when PlayStations were really hot, and he needed it to donate it to a good friend of his.
To a veteran.
Yeah, it was an incredible story.
Wow.
And so during that time, I got to sit with him, and believe me, I went to his office and I was scared. I was scared out of my mind. He goes, "Oh, does it work?" He said, "If it doesn't work, you're done for." I said, "Sir, if it doesn't work, I'll buy it back, you know."
Yeah.
And but he said, "Hey, do you want to check out the man cave?" And it was my first time walking in there, and it was just like, oh my God, I've never seen these types of cars in real life before in my life, right? And he started chatting with me. He was telling me about his mom and his life, and then I told him I didn't have a dad growing up, and he was like, wow, he was like, you know, I tend to attract a lot of men that didn't have dads. And so he was like, you know what, you seem like a cool dude. Here's my number. Don't ever give it out. Let's go have breakfast sometime. And so we ended up having breakfast, and he said he took a liking to me, which was great, and we really connected. And he's like, you know, if you want to come work with me, like I'll take you in, but it's not going to be easy, buddy. And he was like, there's no free lunches in this camp by any stretch. And when I really started working with him, he's like, he was like, you've been sleeping in late. That's how you live. That doesn't fly with me. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And then so I couldn't do 5 o'clock, but I started 7 o'clock and then 6 o'clock, you know,
Yeah.
and now sometimes 5 o'clock. But when I was working with him, he's like, we're out there pulling weeds. We're working on the yard. We're working on the house. And he's like, you know, he said, Fonzie, you've never had a strong man to show you what it means to be strong.
Right.
You know, and I had soft hands, right? But I'm going out there and I'm working hard, fixing my house, getting things done. And it's just a level of discipline that I never had throughout my life, right? I love my mom to death, don't get me wrong, but it's like she didn't push me to be a strong man. She pushed me to be a loving man, a kind man, and I'm here for that. I love that.
Yeah.
But she didn't know how to be. She wasn't a man, so she didn't know how to be a strong man, right? So then getting to hang out with the general, I had the opportunity to watch a strong man go out and kill it, and people think all the time, oh, you're hanging out with Jack, it must be Lambos and having and the best time of our life. And don't get me wrong, we have a blast. Yeah. And the Lambos do come out every once in a while. But we're working hard. We're working tremendously hard. At the end of the day, I get home, I'm sweating. I'm like, I'm dunzos. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's got me in the gym. He said, Fonzie, strong men need to build your muscles, get stronger. And I used to love the gym. But what I loved at the gym is nothing like working out with the general. Like, it's an entirely different experience, right? I've never had the type of pumps that I've had working with this guy. Like, he kills you in the gym. And I'm like, I need a spotter. He's like, no, you don't. You need to lift the weight, you know? Yeah. And so it's just hanging out with him. I become a better man. I become a better father, a better friend, you know, a better son even. And I went in and I'm helping my mom clean her house now. You know, I'm like, Mom, I don't like this, I don't like that. And now things are changing. He's helping me to step up to become a better man. So from a mentor perspective, like I appreciate him more than I could ever say. You know what I mean? So
to answer your question, see, and Fonzie says, like, it's really a lack of men in the household, a lack of leadership. Yeah. And it's moms raising all these single moms. And then you get these guys that are complaining about paying $158 in child support, right? And I'm really like that. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, when you know what it takes to actually raise a child and a mom, that's a full job 1.5 times. I had Jack yesterday for about 2 hours, right? And we had to go to the doctor, and I was like, holy smokes, Jack will either make you get on permanent birth control or it'll teach you about like how hard life is. Yeah. But being a mom is such a full-time job. Like, if you're out there and you get a woman pregnant, it should be a responsibility that you have to take care of her and the child, because that's the only way you're going to raise a phenomenal kid. And so I know people have to have 2 household incomes like that, but it really doesn't have to. And that's what I was telling you earlier. You work hard up front, and then you have your children later on so that you can give them that safety and security, and they're not worried about anything. And I think that that's where men have it wrong. So me, I didn't want to get kids early. I didn't want to get married early. I wanted to live my life, build an empire. And it's the whole philosophy of building a garden that's so huge that all the butterflies want to land in it. Right? Yeah. And then you can bring that stability.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the best outcome to raise a kid and set them up for success. Absolutely. And from my personal opinion, I feel like that's where my generation is going wrong, is rushing into things and not knowing what to do and not having good examples set before we even got to that point. So, like, we can relate in that sense. And it's something that I like to talk about and try to, like, pick people's brains on that, and people that are knowledgeable in that, of course.
And I think the whole thing with your generation is that whole get rich quick.
That's another thing.
And you know what? An office is a bedroom and it's all thrown. And I'm like, who the fuck wants to be in the office with the bedroom? Like, who wants to be working out of their house? That doesn't show any power to me. Like, you want to be working behind a desk, like a badass desk, like the way it used to be. Like where you were, like, you're watching Wall Street and you're like, that's what I want. Like, I want to be like the guy in the suit. And I think there's such a lack of discipline all the way around. It's like instant rice, right? Back in the days, you had to have a really good rice cooker, and you really had to learn how to cook rice, right? My life is, we fucked up the world after we created instant rice, because only the good rice cookers could eat rice, or even serve, because you had to know how to do the process and learning it to perfection. And then instant rice came in, and all of a sudden anyone in the microwave can do it. And I think that's what life's about. You get a few idiots that will make it, and then they're all telling the story, but that's not the norm.
Yeah, I mean, that becomes the masses start following that. Yes. Because they see how he...
Right, and I'm like, if you're following the guy who's like, buy this program, I'll teach you to do this, and I'm like, well, he's bullshitting you. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love to talk more, but we do got another guest coming in.
No, that's good for us.
I really appreciate you guys coming in. It was great talking. And Before I end this podcast, I do want to give a shout out to the two main sponsors. We have Hookah Kings, the premier hookah lounge in New Mexico, and Morito Media. Great content for your image and business. And thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode of The Smart Talk.